करुणां कुरु मयि करुणा भरीते करुणां कुरु मयि करुणा भरीते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते सनक सनातन वर्णित चरिते राधे जय जय माधव दयिते. Hare Krishna Mataji. This was, I just heard this tune by His Holiness Loknath Paul Maharaj. But we were practicing on.
Very nice one. Okay, Adi Satvik. Which was second chapter? I think we completed second chapter.
18th, Hare Krishna Mataji, 18th.
18th.
Second chapter, 18th.
So the transcendental state of Labdho Pashanti has been described. In that state, there is no devastating time. Eighteenth verse, second chapter, second canto. Param Padam Vaishnavam Padam Padam Vaishnavam Amananti Tad Yanneti Neti Yanneti Netityad Netityad Utish Kashavaha Visrujya Dauratmyam Ananya Sauhada Rudo Paguyar Padam Pade Pade. The transcendental desire to avoid everything godless. For they know that the supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu. Therefore, devotee, if your devotee who is in the absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the Lord lotus feet at every moment, taking them into his heart. Param Padam Vaishnavam Amananti Tat. Amananti means they know. Who knows? The pure devotees, they know. Na iti, naitar, iti. Na iti. Atad udishashva. That means they do not avoid, they do not desire to avoid. They avoid, who desire to avoid, they avoid whatever is godless. Whatever is godless, they avoid. That all situation, whatever is godless, they try to avoid. So they are never in confusion, perplexities, they are never in confusion. Because Sahurudaha Rada Upagahya. That means they take everything absolute to their heart and they worship Krishna in their heart every step. What is the deep meaning in this? Now Krishna's abode is personal. Krishna himself is personal. Everything is personal. That is why they avoid such atheistic or godless thing. There is no abode. Everything is formless. And all these things they try to avoid. So now what the yogis try to do is, here Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary also will see. Yogi desiring to give up the world which is not Brahman, thoroughly know that the impersonal aspect of Vishnu defined as not this, by avoiding erring intelligence concerning the Lord's nature and avoiding everything not related to the Lord, while embracing at every moment the worshipable lotus feet with their whole. So what they try to do, they want to give up this world. They think this world is not Brahman again. And they are interested only in the impersonal aspect of Vishnu. And they define this as, no, not this. No, this is not God. Or this is not the Paramatma. In this way, they just don't know, no. At the same time, at every moment, they just want to worship the Lord within their heart. Only a bhakta can see that this is Jada Brahman, this is Jiva Brahman, this is Para Brahman. Now, at the level of Jnani, he sees everything is Brahman. Even when I see a Jada, everything is Brahman, everything is Brahman. Who is Lord? Impersonal. Yogi, for him also Lord is impersonal. So what he does, he wants to give up this world. For him, he has nothing to do with this world. He has everything to do with this, the Paramatma who is there in his heart. So what he is doing is trying to avoid by his erring means faulty intelligence or the intelligence which is committing mistake. So in this way, they just say 90, in this way they do 90. But Prabhupada, when he is writing the commentary, you see, everything is boiling down to a pure devotee. Mhm. So a pure devotee, what he does, he completely desires to avoid everything godless. But this verse is not for the pure devotee actually. But Prabhupada boils down to pure devotees because at the level of yogis, again, it's not a pure devotional service. They have a faulty intelligence or intelligence which commits mistake. Now, all these things Prabhupada is avoiding to present because his audience, he has to cultivate them in pure devotional service. His audience at time was those who were unaware of anything. In that, if the differentiation is shown by the gyanis and the yogis, it will be more confusing. That is why pure devotee. Is this verse for the pure devotee? This is the verse, the Lord in the heart. Previously, what it was, the chapter, the first step is God realization, that is Brahman. Then Lord in the heart, yogis, jnanis, yogis. So Prabhupada, when he writes a commentary, it is based on pure devotional service. It is based because Prabhupada considers even the devotee to be a yogi. Yes, he is. A devotee is a perfect yogi. A devotee is a perfect yogi. So nobody can say Prabhupada's commentary is wrong. Why? Because in the sixth chapter, last verse, what is it? Last verse, sixth chapter, last verse. Who will say Bhagavad Gita, sixth chapter, last verse. Yogi Nam api sarvesham Matkadena Shaddavan Bhajate Yomam Samyuktatamamata. Yogi Nam api sarvesham. Among all the yogis, who is the best yogi who is connected to me? That is how seventh chapter starts. Seventh chapter starts with pure devotional service. A devotional service where personal form of Krishna has been understood first. But till the sixth chapter, the personal form of Lord has not been told, but the last verse speaks about it. You feed him, he eats, yat karoshi dashnashi, all these things is in the middle, Bhakti Yoga. The first six chapters, in that the sixth chapter speaks about the Dhyana Yoga. In that very clearly, the Lord himself says, among all the yogis, the best yogi is a pure devotee. That is why Prabhupada, when he writes a commentary, he is not differentiating between the Ashtanga Yoga because it will be too confusing. Better is speak about the last, who is the topmost of the yogis. Understood? Now, when Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is writing the commentary, Sripad is writing the commentary, he is writing the commentary with the understanding, yes, this verse is for those yogis who want to give up this world. They consider this world is not Brahman. They know the impersonal aspect of Vishnu. And in this way, 19. Now see, the same verse has been spoken for a pure devotee. He also says, no, not this godless thing, not this godless thing. Everything belongs to Krishna. I'm not going to accept anything which is godless. Okay? It's actually beautiful. You see the commentaries, both the commentaries, nicely described. Okay. Adi Satviki Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Verse 18. Parang padang Vaishnava mamananti tada yanneti netitya tadutsi srikshabaha Vishrijya Dauratmamananya Shaurita Ridapaguyara Padang Pade Pade. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The transcendentalists desire to avoid everything godless, for they know that supreme situation in which everything is related with the Supreme Lord Vishnu, therefore Vishnu. Therefore, a pure devotee who is in absolute harmony with the Lord does not create perplexities, but worships the lotus feet of the Lord at every moment, taking them into his heart. Purport: in the Bhagavad Gita, Madhama, my abode, is mentioned several times. And according to the version of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, there exists the unlimited spiritual sky, wherein the planets are called Vaikunthas, or the abode of the Personality of Godhead in that sky, which is far, far beyond the material sky and its sevenfold coverings. There is no need of the sun or the moon, nor is there necessity of electricity for illumination, because the planets are self-illuminating and more brilliant than the material suns. Pure devotees of the Lord are absolutely in harmony with the personality of Godhead. Or in other words, they always think of the Lord as their only dependable friend and well-wisher. They do not care for any mundane creature up to the status of Brahma, the Lord of the universe. Only they can definitely have a clear vision of the Vaikuntha planets. Such pure devotees, being perfectly directed by the Supreme Lord, do not create any artificial perplexity in the matter of transcendental understanding by wasting time in discussing what is Brahman and what is not non-Brahman or Maya, nor do they falsely think of themselves as one with the Lord, or argue that there is no existence of the Lord separately, or that there is no God at all, or that living beings are themselves God, or that God incarnates himself, he assumes a material body. Nor do they concern themselves with many obscure speculative theories, which are in actuality so many stumbling blocks on the path of transcendental understanding. Apart from the class of impersonalists or non-devotees, there are also classes who pose themselves as devotees of the Lord, but at heart maintain the ideas of salvation by becoming one with the impersonal Brahman. They wrongly manufacture their own way of devotional service by open debauchery and mislead others who are simpletons or debauchees like themselves. All these non-devotees and debauchees are, according to Vishwanath Chakraborty, Duratmas, or crooked souls in the dress of Mahatmas or great souls. Such non-devotees and devotees are completely excluded from the list of transcendentalists by the presentation of this particular verse by Sukadev Goswami. So the Vaikuntha planets are factually the supreme residential places called the Parampadam. The impersonal Brahmajyoti is also called the Parampadam due to its being the rays of the Vaikuntha planets, as the sun rays are the rays of the sun. In the Bhagavad Gita 14:27, it is clearly said that the impersonal Brahmajyoti rests on the person of the Lord. And because everything rests on the Brahmajyoti directly and indirectly, everything is generated from the Lord. Everything rests on him, and after annihilation, everything is merged in him only. Therefore, nothing is independent of him. A pure devotee of the Lord no longer wastes valuable time in discriminating the Brahman from non-Brahman, because he knows perfectly well that the Lord Param Brahma, by his Brahman energy is interwoven in everything. And thus, everything is looked upon by a devotee as the property of the Lord. The devotee tries to engage everything in his service and does not create perplexities by falsely lording it over the creation of the Lord. He is so faithful that he engages himself as well as everything else in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In everything, the devotee sees the Lord and he sees everything in the Lord. The specific disturbance created by a duratma or crooked soul is due to his maintaining that the transcendental form of the Lord is something material. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Okay, next time. इत्थं मुनिस्तूपरमेव व्यवस्थितो विज्ञानद्रवीर्य सुरन्धिताशयः स्वपार्ष्णिनापीड्य बुधं ततो निलम् आनेषु षट्सून्नम् अयेचित्तक्लमशः क्लमः. Itham, thus by Brahman realization, Muni, the philosopher, too, but Uparame should retire, well situated. Vijnana Druk, by scientific knowledge, Virya, strength, Su Randhitaha, well regulated, Ashaya, aim of life, Swa Parshnina, with the heel of one's foot, Apidya, by blocking, Budam, the air hole, Tata, thereafter, Anilam, light air, Stanishu, in the places. Shatshu, 6 primary, Punnama 8, must be lifted, Jita Klamaha, by extinguishing material desires. So translation goes, by the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization. So by strength of scientific knowledge. We think that the devotion or the scriptures are not science, but actually it is the real scientific knowledge. One should be well situated in absolute realization and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole, through which stool is evacuated, with the heel of one's foot, and by lifting the life air from one place to another in the 6 primary places. This is how the yogis, Ashtanga yogis, they leave the body. They block the stool going place with their heel and they lift the air. It's not technique such. But for a devotee, the best way is what? Just remember Krishna. Just remember Krishna and get the highest realization. Simple. So these verses are spoken for the yogis, and it's very, very difficult also. Very difficult to give up everything. Mooladhara chakra, that is the down one. Closing the Mooladhara chakra, pressing the Mooladhara chakra. And that too without fatigue. It's not so easy to press the Mooladhara chakra. And then lifting the air to the 6 places. The 6 places are first the navel, heart, chest, base of the palate, forehead between the brows, and then Brahmarantra. Navel, then comes heart, chest, base of the palate, forehead between the eyebrows and Brahmarantra. In this way, he raises the air to the navel with the Manipuraka chakra, then to the heart, Anahata chakra, then to the chest, Vishuddha chakra, which is situated down below the throat. Here all different chakras are. Total 7 chakras are. And slowly through every chakra, the prana vayus go. And ultimately to the Randra. So this is an abhyasa. Dharana, dhyana, and then samadhi state. This is the state where he can remove from the prana. For that, he focuses on the Paramatma. Not so easy. So better is, for us is what? Simple chanting. Prabhupada knows. We don't know all these things. But we should read, just to have some glimpse of it. Kusumanjali, Mataji, please read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam. Itam Munistu Parame Vyavastito Vigyana Drekvirya Surandita Sayaha Swaparshnina Pedya Kudam Tato Nilam Staneshu Satsunna Mae Jita Klamaha. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the strength of scientific knowledge, one should be well situated in absolute realization and thus be able to extinguish all material desires. One should then give up the material body by blocking the air hole through which stool is evacuated with the heel of one's foot and by lifting the life air from one place to another in the six primary places. Perfect. There are many Duratmas who claim to have realized themselves as Brahman and yet are unable to conquer material desires. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.54, it is clearly explained that an absolutely self realized soul becomes completely aloof from all material desires. Material desires are based on the false ego of the living being and are exhibited by his childish and useless activities to conquer the laws of material nature and by his desire to lord it over the resources of the five elements. With such a mentality, one is led to believe in the strength of material science with its discovery of atomic energy and space travel by mechanical vehicles and by such tiny advancements in material science, the false egoist tries to challenge even the strength of the Supreme Lord who can finish all man's tiny endeavors in less than a second. The well situated self or Brahman realized soul perfectly understands that the Supreme Brahman or the personality of Godhead is the all powerful Vasudeva and that he, the self realized living being, is a part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. As such, his constitutional position is to cooperate with him in all respects in the transcendental relation of the served and the servitor. Such a self realized soul ceases to exhibit his useless activities of attempting to lord it over material nature. Being scientifically well informed, he fully engages himself in faithful devotion to the Lord. The expert yogi who has thoroughly practiced the control of the life air by the prescribed method of the yoga system is advised to quit the body as follows. He should plug up the evacuating hole with the heel of the foot and then progressively move the life air on and on to six places: the navel, abdomen, heart, chest, palate, eyebrows, and cerebral pit. Controlling the life air by the prescribed yogic process is mechanical, and the practice is more or less a physical endeavor for spiritual perfection. In olden days, such practice was very common for the transcendentalist, for the mode of life and character in those days were favorable. But in modern days, when the influence of Kali age is so disturbing, practically everyone is untrained in this art of bodily exercise. Concentration of the mind is more easily attained in these days by the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The results are more effective than those derived from the inner exercise of the life air. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much.
So 20 and 21 together will be. नाभ्यां स्थितं हृद्यभिरोप्य तस्मादुदानगत्योरसितं नयेन्मुनि ततोऽनुसन्धाय धिया मनस्वी स्वतालुमूलं शनकैर्नयेत नाभ्यम् on the navel, sitam situated to the heart. Adhiropya by placing tasmat from there. Udana soaring up. Gatya force urasi to the chest. From thereafter, Nai should draw Muni, the meditative devotee. Tatha them anusandhaya, just to search out. Diya by intelligence, Manasri by meditating. Swatalu Mudram. Shalakahi slowly Naita may be brought. The meditative devotee should slowly push up the life air from the navel to the heart, from the heart to the chest, from the chest to the root of the palate. This not down the palate. This is down the tongue. He should search out the proper places with intelligence. So in this way, the names of the chakras are also given. Navel is Swadhisthana chakra. Down is Muladhara. Navel, Swadhisthana chakra. And Manipuraka chakra is also. Then to the heart, Anahata chakra. And then see that throat has been given. There is Vishuddha chakra. So from navel to the heart to the chest has not been given. So Anahata chakra is in that place. But navel means Swadhisthana chakra, Manipuraka chakra, Anahata chakra. Then here Vishuddha chakra. Through the movement of Udana air, the air which goes upwards. Udana. The yogi having controlled his senses, consciousness, searching out his intelligence, leads the air gradually to the base of the palate. The next. Tasmad Dhruvor Antaram Unnayeta Niruddha Saptayatano Anapekshatha Sitva Muhurtar Dhamakunta Drishti Nirmitya Nirvidya Murdhan Visrujet Paramgata. Tasma, from there, Dhruvo, in between the eyebrows, Antaram, in between, Unnayet should be brought in. Niruddha, by blocking, Sapta, 7, Ayatanaha, outlets of the life air, Anapekshaha, independent of all material enjoyment, Satwa, by keeping, Murta, of the moment, Ardham, half, Akuntha, back to part, Drishtihi, one whose aim is targeted like this, like that, Nirvidya, punching, Murdhan, the cerebral hole, Visrujet, should leave up his body, Param, the supreme Gataha, having gone. Thereafter, the Bhakti Yoga should push the life air up between the eyebrows and then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air. He should, 7 outlets are 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth. He is blocking everything. Already he has blocked the Muladhara chakra. He should maintain his aim for going back home. Even in the navel also he has blocked the outlet, everything is blocked. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral hole and give up his material collections. So all this is dependent on his desire. Even a small tinge of material desire should not be there. Okay. So Narayana, read 20 and 21.
Yes, Mataji. नाभ्यां स्थितं हृद्यधिरोप्य तस्मात् उदानगत्योरसितं नयेन्मुनिः ततोऽनुसन्धाय धिया मनस्वी स्वतालुमूलं Kairnayet. Shanakairnayet. Nabhyam on the navel, Stitam situated, Hridi in the heart, Adhiropya by placing, Tasmad from there, Udana soaring, Gatya force, Urasi on the chest, Tam thereafter, Nayet should draw, Munihi the meditative devotee, Tataha them, Anusandhaya just to search out, Dhiya by the intelligence, Manasvi the meditative, Swatalu Moolam on the root of the palate, Sanakai slowly Nayeta may be brought in. Translation and purport of Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: the meditative devotee should slowly push up the life air from the navel to the heart, from there to the chest, and from there to the root of the palate. He should search out the proper places with intelligence. Purports: there are 6 circles of the movement of the life air, and the intelligent bhakti yogi should search out these places with intelligence and in a meditative mood. Among these mentioned above is the Swadhisthana Chakra, or the powerhouse of the life air, and above this, just below the abdomen and the navel, is the Manipuraka Chakra. When the upper space is further searched out in the heart, one reaches the Anahata Chakra, and from there, when the life air is placed at the root of the palate, one reaches the Vishuddhi Chakra. 21st verse. तस्मात् ब्रुवोरन्तरं ब्रुवोर ब्रुवोर मुन्येत निरुद्धसप्तायतनो नपेक्षः स्थित्वा मुहूर्तार्धमकुण्ठदृष्टिः निर्भिद्य मूर्धन् विसृजेत् परं गतः. Tasmat from there, Bruvo of the eyebrows, Antaram in between, Unnayet should be brought in, Niruddha by blocking, Sapta 7, Ayantanaha outlets of the life air, Anapekshaha independent of all material enjoyment, Sthitva by keeping, Muhurta of a moment, Ardham half, Akuntha back home back to Godhead, Drishtihi one whose aim is targeted like that, Nirbhidya punching, Murdham, the cerebral hole, Visrujet should give up his body, Param, the supreme, Gataha, having gone to. Translation: thereafter, the Bhakti Yogi should push the life air up between the eyebrows, and then blocking the 7 outlets of the life air, he should maintain his aim for going back home, back to Godhead. If he is completely free from all desires for material enjoyment, he should then reach the cerebral hole and give up his material connections, having gone to the Supreme. Okay. Purport. The process of giving up all material connections and returning home back to Godhead, the Supreme, is recommended herein. The condition is that one should be completely freed from desire for material enjoyment. There are different grades of material enjoyments in respect to the duration of life and sensual gratification. The highest plane of sensual enjoyment for the longest period of life is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.20. Traividya Mam Somapaha Utapapaha. Okay, that verse. All are but material enjoyments, and one should be thoroughly convinced that he has no need for such a long duration of life, even in the Brahmaloka planet. He must return home back to Godhead and must not be attracted by any amount of material facilities. In Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Vishaya Vinivartante, that verse, it is said that this sort of material detachment is possible to attain when one is acquainted with the supreme association of life. Param Drishtva Nivartate. One cannot be freed from material attraction unless he has complete understanding of the nature of spiritual life. The propaganda by a certain class of impersonalists is that spiritual life is void of all categories of all is dangerous propaganda to mislead the living beings into becoming more and more attracted by material enjoyments. The propaganda by certain class of impersonalists that the spiritual life is devoid of all varieties is dangerous propaganda to mislead the living beings into becoming more and more attracted by material enjoyments. As such, persons with a poor fund of knowledge cannot have any conception of the Param, the Supreme. They try to stick to the varieties of material enjoyments, although they may flatter themselves as being Brahman realized souls. Such less intelligent persons cannot have any conception of the Param, as mentioned in this verse, and therefore they cannot reach the Supreme. The devotees have full knowledge of the spiritual world, the personality of Godhead, and his transcendental association in unlimited spiritual planes like Vaikuntha Lokas. Herein, Akuntha Drishtihi is mentioned. Akuntha and Vaikuntha convey the same import, and only one who has his aim fixed upon that spiritual world and personal association with the Godhead can give up his material connections even while living in the material world. This Param and the Param Dhama, mentioned in several places in the Bhagavad Gita, are one and the same thing. One who goes to the Param Dham does not return to the material world. This freedom is not possible even by reaching the topmost loka of the material world. The life air passes through seven openings, namely two eyes, two nostrils, two ears, and one mouth. Generally, it passes through the mouth at the time of an ordinary man's death. But the yogi, as above mentioned, who controls the living air in his own way, generally releases the life air by puncturing the cerebral hole in the head. The yogi therefore blocks up all the above mentioned seven openings so that the life air will naturally burst forth through the cerebral hole. This is the sure sign of a great devotee's leaving the material connection. Hare Krishna.
So we have spoken about a great devotee. So that the samadhi state should be, he should understand what is a parampadam. Parampadam is Vaikuntha, where there is no kuntha at all, no misery at all, and no material desires also. Misery is because of any desires. So no material desire, even to the extent of getting Brahmaloka. Only that yogi can open the Randhra and go to Parampadam. Because here, Parampadam has been spoken, not that anywhere. It's Parampadam. Parampadam has been described in Bhagavad Gita. That is how it is stated here. यदि प्रयास्यन् नृपपारमेष्ठ्यम् वैहाय सानामुत यद्विहारम् अष्टाधिपत्यं गुणसन्निवाये सहैव गच्छेन् मनसेन्द्रियैश्च. So, however, O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyment, like transference to the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the eightfold perfections, travel in outer space with the Vihayas, or a situation in one of the million of planets, then he has to take away with him the materially molded mind and senses. Even if he has some desire for Ashtasiddhis, or going to the topmost planet, then he has to travel with Vihayas. Yadi Prayasyan means maintaining a desire. What is the desire? Governing planet of the material world, going there, Parvishtyam. Then he will be known as Vihayas, of the beings known as the Vihayas. So he will go to the place of enjoyment, Ashtadipayam, that means he wants Ashtasiddhis. So in this way, he will be traveling only in these modes of material nature. And he will go to that planet which is not Vaikuntha, it's only in the material world. He will be accompanied with the mind and the senses, so whatever he desires. Okay. Priya, Krishna Priya, please. Krishna Priya, not able to unmute. Okay. Vimala, read. Vimla, read
Haji,
it.
I'm not at home. I don't have the book, sorry.
Okay. Adi Satviki, you continue.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dhanam. Verse 22nd. Di prayasan nipo parameshtang vihaya sanamuta yadviharam ashtadipatyang gunasannibaye sahaiva gachenmana sendriyoisya. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. However, O king, if a yogi maintains a desire for improved material enjoyments like transference to the topmost planet Brahmaloka, or the achievement of the eightfold perfections, travel in outer space with the Vayahasas, or a situation in one of the millions of planets, then he has to take away with him the materially molded mind and senses. Purport: in the upper state of planetary systems, there are facilities thousands and thousands of times greater for material enjoyments than in the lower planetary systems. The topmost planetary systems consist of planets like Brahmaloka and Dhruvaloka, the pole star, and all of them are situated beyond Maharloka. The inhabitants of those planets are empowered with eightfold achievements of mystic perfection. They do not have to learn and practice the mystic process of yoga perfection and achieve the power of becoming small like the particle, anima siddhi, or lighter than the soft feather, laghima siddhi. They do not have to get everything from anywhere and everywhere, prapti siddhi, to become heavier than the heaviest, mahima siddhi, to act freely, even to create something wonderful or to annihilate anything at will, isistva siddhi, to control all material elements, vasista siddhi, to possess such power as will never be frustrated in any desire, prakamya siddhi, or to assume any shape or form one may even whimsically desire, kama siddhi. All these expediencies are as common as natural gifts for the inhabitants of those higher planets. They do not require any mechanical help to travel in outer space, and they can move and travel at will from one planet to any other planet within no time. The inhabitants of the earth cannot move even to the nearest planet except by mechanical vehicles like spacecraft. But the highly talented inhabitants of such higher planets can do everything very easily. Since a materialist is generally inquisitive to experience what is actually in such planetary systems, he wants to see everything personally. As inquisitive persons tour all over the world to gain direct local experience, the less intelligent transcendentalist similarly desires to have some experience of those planets about which he has heard so many wonderful things. The yogi can, however, easily fulfill his desire by going there with the present materialistic mind and senses. The prime inclination of the materialistic mind is to lord it over the material world. And all the siddhis mentioned above are features of domination over the world. The devotees of the Lord are not ambitious to dominate a false and temporary phenomena. On the contrary, a devotee wants to be dominated by the supreme predominator, the Lord. A desire to serve the Lord, the supreme predominator, is spiritual or transcendental, and one has to attain this purification of the mind and the senses to get admission in the into the spiritual kingdom. With the materialistic mind, one can reach the best planet in the universe, but no one can enter into the kingdom of God. Senses are called spiritually purified when they are not involved in sense gratification. Senses require engagements, and when the senses are engaged totally in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, they have no chance to become contaminated by material infections. Thank you very much, Mataji.
So Ashtasiddhi's name is given Anima, smaller than the smallest. Laghima, softer. Then you have Prapti. You want everything from anywhere and everywhere. Prapti. Then you have Mahima, becoming happiest. Ishitva, create or annihilate. Then comes Vashitva, controlling. Prakamya, never getting frustrated with any amount of desires. Kama Vashaita. Kama Vasaita. You can assume any form. Kama Vasaita. Like our Putana. She assumed the form of Lakshmi. She assumed the form of a gopi. So in this way, these are the siddhis. Vashita means to control someone. Vashme. Vashita se. Yogeshwaranam gatimahurantara. Bahishtrilokyā pavanantaratmanam. Na karmabhistam gatimapnuvanti vidyatapo yoga samadhibhajam. Yoga Ishwaranam, of the great saints and yogis, Gatim, destination of which is said, Anta, within, Bahi, without, Trilokyaha, of the three planetary systems, Pavana, Antaha, within the air, Atmanam, of the subtle body, Na, never, Karma, by fruitive activities, Tam, that, Gatim, speed, Apnuvanti, achieve, Vidya, devotional service, Tapaha, austerities, Yoga, mystic power, Samadhi, knowledge, Bhajam, of those who entertain. So the transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, by the strength of the devotional service, austerities, mystic power, transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted within and beyond the material worlds. This is for whom but? Who are concerned with spiritual body. The fruity workers or the gross materialists can never move in such an unrestricted way. If their desire is to grow spiritually, then they get this unrestricted movement. So in this way, the yogis, great yogis who possess subtle bodies and worship the Lord, follow Dharma and practice Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana, go anywhere and inside and outside the universe, they do not attain such place by performance of Dharma. So at that level also they can go inside, outside, like Mahatloka, they can go. So they are subtle body. Pavanantara Atmanam, like Kechari, Utna is also known as Kechari, they can go, they can travel. They perform worship of the Lord Vidya by following the rules, Tapa, Ashtanga Yoga, and Jnana and Samadhi. Then they get this inside and outside the universe. Vaishvanaram yati vihaya sagatah sushumnaya brahmapadena shuchisha viduta kalpotha harerudasta prayati chakram drupasheshumaram. So when this mystic passes over the Milky Way, by the illuminating Sushumna, to reach the highest planet, that is Brahmaloka, he goes first to Vaishvana, the place of the deity of fire, Vaishvana. We say na Vaishvana Agni is there in our stomach. That is the place of the deity of fire, wherein he completely is cleansed of all contamination. And thereafter he still goes high to the circle of Shishumar to relate with Lord Hari. First he goes to Shushumna, goes to Brahmaloka, then Vaishvana, then to Sushumar to relate with Lord Hari. Okay. So first they go to the presiding deity of fire, that is Vaishvana, by the means of Akash, that is Vihayasa, became Kushumna Nadi. Then they pass through Brahma, like Patrina. Then from that Nadi is situated outside the body. It is filled with the Shochicha, that is impurities. Then he gives up all impurities, Vibhuta Kalkaha. And in this way they proceed to the circle of stars located on the higher in the form of a dolphin, which is related to the Lord. Then the circle starts with stars, that is Aditya Punarvasu, and ends with Dhruva star, Sapta Rishis, that is the constellation. So in this way, at the tail of Shishumar is the pole star. Its body extends around the sky, following the path of the sun, with the 27 constellations situated on parts of its body. In this way, the Saptarishi that looks like dolphin, there it travels. It's said in the purport. Okay, first we'll read is 23rd and 24th. Then we'll see 25th. Okay, Kusum read 24th and 25th. 23rd
Hare
and
Krishna Mataji.
23rd.
Dandot Pranam Mataji. योगीश्वराणां गतिमाहुरन्तर् बहिस्त्रिलोक्या पर पवनान्तर् आत्मनां न कर्मभिस्तां गतिम् आप्नुवन्ति विद्या तपो योग समाधिभाजम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The transcendentalists are concerned with the spiritual body. As such, by the strength of their devotional service, austerities, mystic power, and transcendental knowledge, their movements are unrestricted within and beyond the material worlds. The fruitive workers or the gross materialists can never move in such an unrestricted manner. Purport: the materialistic scientists' endeavor to reach other planets by mechanical vehicles is only a futile attempt. One can, however, reach heavenly planets by virtuous activities, but one can never expect to go beyond Swarga or Janaloka by such mechanical or materialistic activities, either gross or subtle. The transcendentalists, who have nothing to do with the gross material body, can move anywhere within or beyond the material worlds. Within the material worlds, they move in the planetary systems of the Mahar, Janus, Tapas, and Satyaloka, and beyond the material worlds, they can move in the Vaikunthas as unrestricted spacemen. Narada Muni is one of the examples of such spacemen, and Durvasa Muni is one of such mystics. By the strength of devotional service, austerities, mystic powers, and transcendental knowledge, everyone can move like Narad Muni or Durvasa Muni. It is said that Durvasa Muni traveled throughout the entirety of material space and part of spiritual space within 1 year only. The speed of the transcendentalists can never be attained by the gross or subtle materialists. Text 24. वैश्वानरं यति विहाय स गता सुषुम्नया ब्रह्मपतेन सोचिसा विधूतकल्पु हरेरुदस्तात् प्रयाति चक्रं नृपसे सुमारम्. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O king, when such a mystic passes over the Milky Way by the illuminating Sushumna to reach the highest planet, Brahmaloka, he goes first to Vaishvanara, the planet of the deity of fire, wherein he becomes completely cleansed of all contaminations, and thereafter he still goes higher to the circle of Shishumara to relate with Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead. Purport: the polar star of the universe and the circle thereof is called the Shishumara circle, and therein the local residential planet of the personality of Godhead, Shirodakshai Vishnu, is situated. Before reaching there, the mystic passes over the Milky Way to reach Brahmaloka, and while going there, he first reaches Vaishvanara Loka, where the demigods controls fire. On Vaishvanara Loka, the yogi becomes completely cleansed of all dirty sins acquired while in contact with the material world. The Milky Way in the sky is indicated herein as the way leading to Brahmaloka, the highest planet of the universe. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Next. Last verse will do for today. Okay. 25th verse. Tadvishwanabhi Pativartya Vishnu Aniyasa विरजेनात्मनैकः नमस्कृतं ब्रह्मविदामुपैति कल्पायुषो यत् विबुधारमन्ते. This Vishumar is the pivot for the turning of the complete universe, and it is called the navel of Vishnu, Ardhadakshay Vishnu. The yogi alone goes beyond this circle of Shishumar, attains the planet Maharloka, where purified saints like Guru enjoy duration of life. Oh, how many zeros are there? 4,30,000. You can say 4,30,000 and then followed by 3 zeros. Solar years, this planet is worshipable even for the saints which are transcendently situated. Go to Maharloka. Still Satyaloka is Baki. That will be tomorrow, Thursday. Okay, this last verse also, Kusum, finish it off.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavana. तद्विश्वनाभिं अतिवर्त्य विष्णो अनीयसा विरचीनात्मनैकः नमस्कृतं ब्रह्मविदाम् उपैति कल्पायुषो यत् विबुधा रमन्ते. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. This Shishumara is the pivot for the turning of the complete universe, and it is called the navel of Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. The yogi alone goes beyond this circle of Shishumara and attains the planet Maharloka, where purified saints like Bhrigu enjoy a duration of life of 43,000 lakhs solar years. This planet is worshipable even for the saints who are transcendently situated. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Stop here. So Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any questions? Hare Bol.
Mataji, Haribol, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Here we see that Durvasa Muni is mentioned, but Durvasa Muni had much of anger. So how he was purified in the position or
To perform in Leela. Never supposed to perform in Leela.
when they go through the position or
Vigorishly. Guru is where is Durvasa mentioned? Durvasa is mentioned or not? You don't come
Sir.
across. Guru is
Narada
mentioned. Yeah,
Narada
Narada was like that. Durvasa Muni also the power, na? They are all Munis, na? They have the power to travel. Okay.
So they don't go through the position or
That's how Durvasa Muni he wants to check. He goes travels. They can go anywhere. They're all Munis. They perform lot of they get lot of siddhis. Panchakal Pass in Loke Vichapati.